Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to episode 45 of Talk4, the quickfire podcast where we ask four great questions to unique and interesting people. Behind the mic today is your host, Louis Skupien. That's me, and our special guest for today, Dante Ha, who's going to be answering some questions today. Dante, please say hi, introduce yourself, and give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do before I shoot some questions.
Okay, my name is Dante Ha. I am stunt performer. Worked a couple of episodes throughout few seasons in Cobra Kai, and yeah, I'm still currently working performer. Not at the moment. At the moment, I'm doing interviews.
Brilliant stuff. And right, I noticed straight away when you joined the call, Dante. We've got a little Cobra Kai season 3 sweater on there as well. So I love it. You're going with the theme, going with the style, and yeah. So looking at some of the stuff you've done, damn, dude, you've got work done in Black Panther, Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, and obviously a super cool role in Cobra Kai and stuff too. So you've got an extensive history. And looking at your Instagram, you've got all the stuff going on with the archery and combining martial arts with archery. It's super cool stuff. Absolutely love it. And I've got four really good questions to ask you today. So if you're ready, do you
Okay,
want to jump on to question number one?
sure.
All right, let's
Yeah,
do it.
let's go ahead.
Hell yeah. Right. So my first question is tell me about your backstory, just a bit about your backstory. So how did you originally get into stunt work? What was your inspiration behind it and how did it lead to such awesome roles and major titles?
Well, I'm born and raised in South Korea, and I moved to United States when I was 19 in American age. There's a little bit of difference there in Korean age and American age. I was always interested in filmmaking and action movie making. I never really thought about performing in it. Happens to after I graduated my university in Missouri, I came to Georgia. I think it was in 2004, 2005, and I was actually working as a martial arts instructor, slash on a smaller studio, a local studio here as an editor.
Right.
And yeah, I just stumbled upon and then met a couple of local stunt guys and started talking to them and meeting up because of I have, background in martial arts. That physicality kind of connects, guys usually easier.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, I started meeting and talking to them and I started pursuing it. And I has been quite lucky, very, very lucky to be, below that wave of the whole industry burst in Georgia.
Sure. Wow, that sounds really good. So makes me want to ask then. So what was your first martial art that you learned and what martial arts do you know now?
Well, now I don't train martial arts. I'm not a
Okay.
martial artist per se. But I started from Hapkido when I was a little kid. I started I think I was like 5 or 6 years old. Um that was in yeah, that was American age, I think. And I actively competed in sparring division right around I think up to like 27. Um and that was my obsession for a while. And that generally honestly helped a lot on my stunt career, just being
Mm,
able to, have some movement and control body spacing, all that kind of that helped a lot.
yeah.
Currently I'm not training martial arts per se. I still work out and I still practice punching kicks, but it's mostly to keep my body up tip, up in a good condition
Mm.
and to look better on camera
Yeah,
than
sure.
actually learning the martial arts skill. And yeah. And I
Gotcha.
do archery, heavy archery, as a hobby.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, it completely adds to the repertoire, doesn't it, for someone who's doing acting and stunt work and stuff, all that sort of stuff around martial arts for sure. So I can see how that
Mm.
helps. And what better role to have than a role as a Cobra Kai Sensei for someone who knows martial arts? So this leads me to my next question then. So talk to me about Cobra Kai then. So how did you get this role and what was it like working on this amazing series?
Uh, the first season, I think I got a call from a friend of mine to work on this thing called the Cobra Kai. I think at that point it was just started as a YouTube project. Um, Again, I was not born and raised here, so I really didn't know. I knew about Karate Kid, uh, but I didn't watch the movie, so I didn't really have much of information. So for me, try to watch that movie and then like try to understand the kind of like what's going on. The storyline per se was kind of like the homework for my job. Anyway, yeah, started out going on down, and then we, did one of the quick fight scenes, and it turns out to be a Cobra Kai, and I realized there was this huge story behind two different characters, where portrayed as a good character versus a bad bully, and now on this Cobra Kai series, they're trying to flipping that role a little bit. There's no good, no bad per se, but just showing different perspective of what we thought it was a bad character, a villain per se.
Mm.
And then I thought it was a super cool idea. So a lot of people don't do that, and I'm always fascinated by the actual villain role on a movie or TV than actual main protagonist. And that was refreshing to see, and that was interesting, and that was really fun to film. Plus, they intentionally kept all the old school karate intentionally.
Mm.
There was all, the karate, like the crescent kick compared to roundhouse kick. I'm like, do you want me to throw crescent or roundhouse kick? I'm like, do crescent kick, but make sure your leg is slightly bent. It doesn't look pretty. It has to be a little bit old school because it has to follow their storyline. So a lot of things like that was, to me, it was very interesting. Not really knowing it, but knowing all those characters and learning all those storylines. Very interesting and fun. And plus a lot of actors that I got to work with. They were amazing to work with and fun to work with. And we're joking around a lot in behind the set, and it's cool. There's like the older generation and younger generation working together.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Cobra Kai is just an incredible series, really. It's so well written, and it was just an amazing watch from start to finish for me. I totally loved it. I loved Karate Kid as well. They just went together hand in hand perfectly. And what was your favorite scene out of everything there? I can imagine it was probably the fight scene with Johnny, because that was just, the whole thing was just epic, basically. And you walk in, you have a little spar with Mike Barnes and stuff. But yeah, what was your favorite scene to film out of all of it?
Well, it's it is a kind of weird. My favorite scene was actually the shot of Johnny's close up, looking at the picture of the pregnant,
Yes,
the baby.
that was so
It's a
cool.
weird thing to say, but all those fight scenes were fun. Yeah, all those fight scenes are fun and exciting. But when you actually consider it, the best part of the entire fight scene was that moment when Johnny sees the picture of baby and
Yeah.
having that emotion, seeing that emotion, and then also seeing Billy actually like, going through that emotional moment. That was my favorite moment.
Yeah, that was so cool. And the music, it went
Mm-hmm.
so well with it too. Running Wild by Airborne, such a good song. I've had it on the car in the car a few times recently. It gets turned all the way
Yeah.
up, I can assure you. Very good song. And the narrative as well from Terry Silver right before that scene, epic, so well done. And yeah, absolutely loved it. And I tell you what, it's so cool to be talking to someone again. I spoke to Jake Huang as well the other day, and it's so good to be talking to you as well
Mm-hmm.
about it. And one of these favorite scenes I've seen in Cobra Kai, and we've got the people here on the screen as well, right in front of me. It's so cool. But anyway, so to move on to my third question, then, slightly different subject now. So, do you have any advice for new and aspiring actors who want to break into the stunt work and choreography industry? And when they're just starting out, what's the best way to get noticed for their very first role?
Mm. Okay, that goes for like a quite serious career advice. Um, it's really difficult thing to give out because individual situations so different. Depends on what your background is, where you come from, what your language, what your culture. So it's a difficult thing, and I really want to distinguish between I know it's basically the same thing, but I want to distinguish between um, passive acting compared to passive stunts. They're a little bit quite different characters of the career path is quite different.
Mm.
So what would you say? Actor more? Because I can give out some advice for stunts in general, but because that
Let's go
it's
stunt
kind of a
because
tricky
because
question.
I've got quite a few guys who listen to the podcast from my past guests as well, who are quite heavily into parkour and free running, and also from my past guests as well. I've got a
Mm.
load of people who like martial arts and stuff as well. So I feel like this would be a good one to go into choreography and the stunt industry to per se. I think as well because some people might be looking to monetize their passions, especially with parkour and stuff. So yeah, if you have any advice there, that would be brilliant for them.
hmm Okay. If you were, I feel like getting into the industry is a lot easier nowadays. Before you actually had to know people physically and had to go meet people. Nowadays we have so many options. We have a phone that has a camera. You have editing capability. So if you are wanting to like getting into stunts, first of all, keep up your training. You definitely have to have good physicality to do this job. Second, start shooting what you are into. If you want to make fight scene, make up fight, shoot it, edit it, and see how good it is, and try to be a judge of it as objectively as possible. And yeah, keep doing it, and then sending it out. There are actually that was a do you know there's like a show called The Teen Wolf
Yes,
in the
Netflix.
beginning
Yeah.
of MTV. Yeah, one of the guys who actually got selected as a stunt double was very, very talented, a parkour guy from Florida. And it was that kind of exactly that kind of case. He had a video up at the time on the YouTube. And a friend of mine at the time was introducing this guy to a coordinator and a producer on the show. And they brought him in and he was able to do the job really well. And it was also he happens to be a good performer, not only a physical athlete, but he was a good performer because he has a love and huge love on pro wrestling. So those two, amazing athleticism and being able to perform, he just got the doubling job for the main actor. And
Hell yeah.
so I'll say keep training, put yourself out there. Yeah, don't get too crazy with it, but put yourself out there. There are a bunch of people who can actually watch your videos and give you a call. You never know what's going to happen.
Brilliant advice. And yeah, no, I really hope that someone gets to hear this who's a fan or someone new to the podcast and wants to get into the industry. And that's really cool. And who better to ask
Mm-hmm.
than you? You've had so many cool roles, and your the list of awesome movies that you've been in and done work on. It blows my mind, man. And so it makes me want to ask then for my final question. What's next for you? So I know you do a lot of work with the archery and stuff now, and you're incorporating the stuff of the martial arts. I know it's just a hobby and stuff, but feel free to tell us about anything you've got planned. What's coming up next for you, and do you have any big plans for the future? What's going on?
I honestly don't have any much of a plan.
Sure.
A lot of the time, yeah, something that's really interesting in a way where there are a lot of friends that you meet and there are few friends that you rely on. So at this point of my life with my age, it's a lot of times I get jobs through my friends and talking, instead of going out finding job per se. Um, so a lot of times I don't really know what's gonna happen next. And then usually I talk to my friends and then, hey, what's going on? And this is going on here. Hey, they're looking for a certain type of look. Hey, they're looking for Asian who can do martial arts who also have some wire experience, things like that. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna apply that. This sounds like a good job for me. Who's the coordinator? A lot of regular day of, boring legwork. It's there's not much of a fancy lifestyle.
Sure.
Um, yeah.
Sounds good, man. And right, so just I'm gonna ask the big question then. So I know you can't speak about it at all or anything, and it's probably not even been pitched or anything yet, but if you did get the call up for Cobra Kai season 6, would you be coming back to kick some more ass?
Oh yeah, yeah. If they can give me a call back, as I don't know, it's a different character or same character, but if they do give me a call, I would love to work on it. And I actually liked all the people that I worked with. So, and they're a good team. They're a really good team. We have, lifelong martial artists, multiple of them. We
Mm.
have actual professional MMA fighter who actually is the most scary person per se, but at the same time, the most goofiest, nice person you can laugh about. We have a karate practitioner for over like 2 or 3 decades at this point. We have a professional wrestler, like Olympic wrestler. So we have a great team there, and I really had fun working with it. So if I can get another shot, I'm sure I'll go work for him.
Hell yeah. No, I'd love to see you back. And I couldn't agree more. You got a hell of a group of people there for the Cobra Kai Senseis. And I think there might, just a little hint for you guys, there might be one more coming on soon. It's in the pipeline. And I'm very much looking forward to it if it does go through. But for now, Dante, that is our 4 questions done for today. And before we wrap this up, it is time for what I like to call the shameless plug. So, Dante, feel free to take a minute and promote anything that you're working on, you want people to take a look at, or just something you believe in. Could be social media or anything.
Well, my obsession at this point is archery. And I just like to share my passion and love with the archery, especially Asiatic archery, with a lot of people. I live
Mm.
in America, which where 90% of people use compound bow or shooting as a Mediterranean shooting. Um, Asiatic archery uses slightly different bow and equipment and slightly different methods of shooting, and it's one of those things that I love. And whenever you're obsessed with it, you want to share with it. So yeah, uh, if you're interested in it, look up some Asiatic archery, look up some videos, read about it. It's very interesting, and I just genuinely want to share that information out there with a bunch of people.
Brilliant stuff. Great stuff, Dante. This has been episode 45 of Talk4, and just want to say thank you so much. It has been
Yeah.
an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No worries. So, thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 45. And if you'd like to listen in to our past episodes, go and have a look at our channel. And if you'd like to listen in for our future ones, make sure to hit that subscribe button and spread some love by leaving a like and a comment. Signing off for now.